Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. I was going to set the tripod up and do a chatty Sunday type thing, but I still don't feel too clever. I'm not right today. This would be a great day to go to the doctor. When the doctor says, "And what's wrong with you, sir?" I could look up and say, "Well, I thought the idea was that I come here and ask you." But I can't explain it. I'm just lethargic, just under the weather, don't feel right, feel a bit lightheaded at times. Haven't got much of an appetite, although I've eaten, but it's more a case of you need to eat, okay, rather than, I could do with some food, I like food, So not quite right. I didn't get a good night's sleep, which didn't help. I was obviously very tired yesterday, and I just had a disturbed night. No explanation. It's not like there was unusual noises or anything like that, but I don't know. So I came down this morning at my normal time, and instead of getting on with stuff, just sat in a chair and tried to have some more sleep. Didn't get much, but worth a try. Right, so a few things that have come up during watering, a little unexpected. First of all, this Masdevallia down in here, the no ID one, that hadn't bloomed for years and did a while back, is going to do it again. And how that spike crept up on me, I really don't know. So we got a Masdevallia bloom to come, not too distant. That's swelling up. It's raised, so once you get that sort of right angle shape against the spike, it's going to open soon. So we'll have that to look at soon. The Chrysotoxum has just started to open some blooms, so you can sort of see what they're going to look like. There's obviously going to be a lot more, but yeah, just started opening today. I think there's 2, maybe 3 blooms, and these aren't fully open yet. Not fully open yet. The Dendrobium senile, I think that's the best group of blooms I've ever had. I'm going to have to bring the camera in when I finish filming, and there's some photos I need to take, and that's one of them. It's just that group, so that when I do a pop-up for senile, this will be the picture with that nice group of blooms. I mean, that really is a nice group of 6. And I don't think I've ever had 6 before for a start, so we'll get that done. A couple of my virtually dead looking Latoria types are actually coming back into growth at long last. There's a tiny little growth there on that one, and you can see the green on that one pushing on now. So some of them are coming back to life. They're a long way off being a decent plant though, but at least they're trying. The Anosmum's just opening. There isn't a fully open bloom to show you yet, but they're just starting. Sometimes you can help them and just sort of guide them. You often get, like here, these are slightly stuck. They will push themselves out, but if you just loosen them, they come apart. But anyway, these will be opening up nicely over the next couple of days. The Anosmum trait is that basically most of the blooms on the cane will open at the same time on the same day or over a 2-day period. So you don't get that staggered blooming like you do with some other types. The Dendrobium nester, every time it does this, I mean, it blooms every year to one extent or another, and every time these blooms come out they surprise me again, and it's just the depth of colour. It's the quality of the colour, especially that deep colour in the lip, which I know the camera's not going to come true. It's just going to be close. But it's not just a colour. If you can see it, it's veined as well, and the veins are almost black on top of that deep colour. So very attractive, and the fragrance is just starting. Bearing in mind these have only just opened, they're just starting. So tomorrow the fragrance should be good. What else did I see? Oh, a suggestion from somebody: get that big Brassia off of that shelf and put it on your display shelf so that you don't risk knocking the tops of those spikes off. And yes, it's a brilliant idea, but remember it's in a bucket and I haven't got anything to stand it on at the moment, so when it's watered it's going to leak all over this wood. So I need to find something to like a tray or something for it to go in. But yes, good idea. And the chrysotoxum might have to come over there as well. I noticed that would be 2 huge plants. They would take up the whole of this shelf, and I'd probably have to move some of the mounts. You know, I mean, those brassica spikes are going to be up here. And my worry is that they are right in front of those 2 fans. And that might not be good for the blooms when they come out. I might have to utilise this top shelf as well, or instead. Something like that. So that was that. What else did I see? Oh yes, my Renanthera that was just in that open basket, stood in a pot, has dropped 4 of its lower leaves over the last couple of days. They just went yellow and came off. And being a vandaceous type, we don't like losing leaves because they can't be replaced. They can only be replaced at the top of the plant, not down in it. And the other thing I'm a trifle worried about is the crown of that plant really does not look too good. So I'm not sure this is a good plant. Now, I don't ever get water in there, but that looks black to me. Now, if the crown goes, then I'd have to wait probably for a very long time to get a new growth somewhere on the plant, which is a bit disappointing, but well, we'll have to wait and see. But there's certainly no sign of a new leaf. This leaf feels a little loose, and it definitely looks dark in there. But to keep it better hydrated, I've put some bark in there as well, so that when I water it, it at least stays wet for a while. So that's to help that one. There was another plant yesterday. I knocked it and it fell right out of its pot, so I had to repot it completely. It was one of those days. It just happens. Down here I noticed, see, now this was hiding, and it's probably hiding from you as well. This is the flower spike that was cut off, and right next to it is the new growth. It's sort of hiding alongside the old spike. So at the moment I've only got 1 new growth on the Cymbidium, and there may be another one later, but it's only ever grown 1 growth each year, and then it varies between 1 spike or 2 spikes, depending on how it's feeling. And I'm not going to get it out, but the cristata up in there, I found 5 or 6 new growths on that yesterday, so that's really coming into growth now. After its little blooming, because it wasn't a massive blooming. 1 spike is not a lot for a cristata. I've done my photos for the virtual competition tables for the Bournemouth Orchid Society and sent those off to Jeff. I did put the red Cattleya in, and I also put the Jenkinsii in, obviously. I just thought, I don't think I've had a Tolumnia show like this before, where I've got this number of plants out at the same time with quite a few with multiple spikes. So I mean, there's 2 spikes with open blooms on this one, more to come. Yeah. This is a spike with 2 buds, with 2 blooms, and I think I may take that spike off because that's the slightly weaker part of the plant, and that will leave me with this one, which is a branch, followed by this one, followed by this one, followed by this one, and just give that part of the plant a bit of a rest. I haven't made my mind up yet. This one over here has had 2 spikes for a long time. I've already taken 1 off, and now I'm going to work on this one. I had an idea, because this decided to push half the plant downwards and half the plant upwards, which is not very strong, and the part in the middle died. So it's 2 plants now, and I thought if I take the hook off and put the hook up the other way, that bit of the plant can stay where it is. This part of the plant can be separated off and either mounted with this one or on a separate mount. Perhaps somebody else could have it down the line, because it is one of the better ones. This is a first time bloomer, so now again I need to get the camera out and get a decent photo of that before they start colour changing dramatically and fading away or something, you know. I mean, it could even be one with a short-lived bloom, so I need to get that photographed. As this one, I need to get that photographed. There's quite a lot of variety on these blooms as well. both in shape and colour. This is by far the best one, where my thumb is. I think that's a first time bloomer as well. And then over here we've got another one with 3 spikes. Again, this one's coming to a close, but it's branching in 2 places behind. This one's finished and it's got 1 little branch, and then this one over here is still in, has just opened, in fact, this one. If you look at these, the coloration here, and then look at the coloration there on the more freshly opened blooms, you can see the difference. So they do fade quite a bit. So these have just opened and we've got these to come. But yeah, I don't think I've had that many Tolumnias out at the same time. Oh, and the other thing, my Europhila, my Tolumnia species with the ridiculously flipping long spike that snapped off, it caught on the roof, it's branching in 2 places. So we will get Europhila blooms. They're not very spectacular actually, they're tiny, but they are a nice yellow colour, but they are very small as Tolumnia blooms go. That spike's still touching the roof. I have to have the plant really low down because the spikes are long and tall. My apple blossom, I can't detect the fragrance yet, but now's a good time to do a colour check. I might even keep the clip. Yeah, if you look here at the base of the 2 petals is the slightest hint of yellow, yeah, and then you've got a good deep yellow on the lip with the purple, and then tinges of pink. If you look at the one above, there's a lot more yellow on those petals, a lot more. So there's even a bit of variety in colour on my single spike. But it's good to do a benchmark on the colour at the moment because it's going to change. It's not going to stay like that. By the time these are a couple of weeks old, the colour will be quite different. This is its opening gambit basically. Another day or 2 the fragrance will start and that will fill the room. But it's got some serious competition with Nesta and Anosmum open at the same time. Both of these, strong raspberry smell, squashed raspberries, squashed fresh raspberries. Let me get that right. Yeah, so a few things going on. The spike on the Dracula Bella is hanging in there. It's still expanding. It just doesn't, at the moment, it's showing no signs of aborting like a lot of the ones did last year. So that's good. And where is it? Oh, it's next to it. I got a plant in here that to all intents and purposes is dying and I don't know why. This, which is in fact a Dracula Chimera, and it's old. These are old leaves, yes, but Draculas don't do the annual deciduous thing and they are really in a sorry state. But it's still growing new growths that seem to be coming up not quite so bad. There's another new growth in the centre there. But there's something very wrong. It's almost as though something's attacking that plant. And at the moment it's winning as well. So I'm not quite sure what to do with it. I suppose the first port of call is a fungicide spray. That will probably make those leaves look even worse. And that's something my friend said. He said, if you've got a fungal attack on a leaf, you will see the results of where it's winning. Yeah? But what you won't see are the results where it's winning but not enough to leave a mark yet. So there are damaged cells that are still green and don't show. So when you put the fungicide on, you may kill the fungicide, but you don't stop that damage continuing. So the leaves get worse, even though you've sprayed them. And a lot of people may think that their spray hasn't worked and perhaps give it an extra strong dose or something and kill the plant. So yeah, it's when you do a fungicide spray, even if it does the job, the leaves are still going to get worse. But I'm going to have to do something with that plant. It's not happy. That's not a today job though. Oh, let's go back there. Yeah, I think, I mean, both the Vandas, I had a good look at those while they were down, and there's no sign of spikes there. My thing, Africana, that's got a new growth just starting, because that's done nothing since I got it. No new roots and no new growths. But yeah, that's been moved because that was in the way where it was. It was okay where it was as far as the health of the plant was concerned, but it's a very bright light orchid, so that's gone up in that section up there with my vandas, where for part of the day there's no shade netting. So that's the best light I've got, is where the vandas are. It's always worked for the vandas. But, right, so that's about it now. Next time I water the holy clay pots, which is tomorrow, I'm going to have a look at my purpurata, because Milan said hold it up to the light and see if you can see any buds starting at the bottom of the sheaths. If you hold the sheaths up against bright light, they become almost transparent, so you can see if there's any buds inside. I mean, it's going to be great if it blooms, but I'm not too fussed on seeing the buds, if you know what I mean. If they're going to grow, they're going to grow, and as they push up through the sheath, they'll become obvious, you know, so I'm not too fussed. My Encyclia cordigera blooms look like they're going over to me, and they have not been out long. Something's still not quite right with that plant, but it's grown a lot better than it ever has. It now has a reasonable root system, and it should be coming back into growth again soon with some new bulbs. And I want to see what the vigour's like for the new bulbs, and that's good. This monster down here, I had quite a good look at this yesterday, and this is going mad, but they're hiding. It's doing things like this. There's two strong new growths there. They're not coming out of the same bulb. This one over here is coming out of this bulb. This one's coming out of this bulb. But as soon as you start moving leaves, there's more. And there's a lot. And in one place, somewhere, buried in here, I'm pretty sure I saw the start of a spike. I bet I can't find it now. So there's another big new growth down in there, look. So there's quite a few new growths pushing on, but it's could do with some spikes on this. This hasn't bloomed for a while. I'm sure I saw there's another new growth down there. I'm sure I saw the little green nubbin of a new growth yesterday. Oh, actually there's two new growths there. There's one there to the left, and then there's another one here to the right. So it's certainly doing a lot of new growths at the moment. I wonder where that blinking nubbin was. Oh well. Oh well, I can't find it at the moment, but if it's going to bloom, it'll get on with it. You can see an old spike there, so you can see where they they come out at the base of the pseudo bulb, but if there's sheaths on the pseudo bulb, they will push up inside those, so they look like they come out the top of the sheath, when in fact they're really coming out from the bottom of the pseudo bulb. So we shall see. As I say, I'm pretty sure I saw one yesterday. Should have marked it, shouldn't I? No, lost it again. Well, if I saw it and it was at the base of the pseudo bulb, it must have been a pseudo bulb without a sheath, so process of elimination. Stop looking at the ones with sheaths on, because you won't see it there. Oh well, if it's going to bloom, it'll bloom. We'll see it later. Nope. Well, I've been round twice and I still can't see it. Oh, there it is, right under my nose, look. There we go. That is highly likely to be a spike. For a minute I thought I was going mad, which, you know, with the state of mind you get when you're not ill, but you're not right. There's several things not right, a bit off. You know, you sort of start questioning sanity. Did I really see a spike, or was I imagining it? Anyway, so a spike, that's not good enough for a flipping plant that size, although strictly speaking that isn't a plant, there's several pieces in there, some of which may only just be coming up to blooming size if you think about it, but it's certainly coming back into growth. We should get a load of nice new leaves on there soon. And I hate to do it, but I'm going to cut that leaf off, it's annoying me. Oh, it has actually gone yellow, that's all right then. I think what it is the bulb's detached at the base. Yeah, it is. I think it'd be better to just take the bulb off. It's really badly desiccated, so I think it's become detached. So we'll get that out, and then we'll have some nice green leaves on the top without that thing spoiling the view. Right, that'll do for today. The Zygopetalum. The not dead Zygopetalum. You always have to requalify that when I talk about it. We've said that, well, we've now got some roots, but what we've now got is a new growth. That better not be a spike. Don't be stupid. You have no strength to do a spike. But it looks like it could be a nice new growth coming up there, which will be the first thing that's happened on the top of the plant for some considerable time. But although this is just a single shoot and it's lost all its leaves, it hasn't lost the bulbs. They're still fully plump. So there's backup. So if this we've got some roots, not a lot. We've got backup reserves here in the bulbs. So let's see if we can get a decent strong new growth this time. Just don't be a spike. Don't be silly. It's going to have to do some pushing and shoving, isn't it? It's coming up right between two bulbs, but it'll just push this one out of the way if it needs to. Yeah, so that was nice to see. Something happening positive on a zygo in this place is unusual to say the least. Now, what do you think of this? This is my live sphagnum that I planted, and it's growing in a strange way. It's growing upwards. There is some other types of moss in there as well, but I haven't seen sphagnum growing like that before. It really is sort of, lower the camera down, it's pushing its way upwards. But nice and green and growing, good stuff. We like that. And the other one over here is an even deeper green and growing, because that one's farther away from the light. I mean, sphagnum in its natural environment in my area grows in the peaty bog areas. There's no shelter there. It's in full sun all day, but it's literally sitting in water. Never gets dry, otherwise it just goes brown and dies, and then when the rain fills the holes up again, it comes back green again. But this is not that type of moss. This is store-bought sphagnum moss in a bag like that one, which I must do something with. I don't know whether I've got any more trays, and of course I can't go out and get anything at the moment, not really. You still buy online, but yeah, these are like seed trays but with no holes in, so they hold water. It's ideal for moss. Ooh. Ooh. Dear oh dear. Oh, I'm achy as well. Nothing right at the moment. And I also I thought I'm going to have a really nice meal yesterday evening, and I just didn't. I didn't even have enough bother in me to get a meal. I just had a couple of snacky things and left it at that. A couple of silly things like that. A couple of sausage rolls, a buttered hot cross bun, and some nuts. Not exactly a healthy evening meal, but we will make up for that tonight. And I had no wine yesterday, and I didn't realise until it had got to bedtime. And I went to pick up my glass. It wasn't there because I hadn't put anything in it. So we had a wine-free day. That doesn't happen often, but now and again, but it doesn't happen often. Right, I'll leave it at that, and sorry about the Sunday chat going missing yesterday. I just didn't have it in me. It doesn't happen often. I mean, I'm normally up and running. I mean, apart from my back problem, people have been following from me for years and years and years. You ever known me go ill? You know, as in missing for a week. Well, I went missing when I went to Ireland to see Rachel, but you know, no, I don't go missing. So it was unusual. And we'll finish on the glory boy up there. We've been posing for our pictures today. Been sent off in various directions for various reasons. So, well, when you get a good show like that, you've got to take advantage of it. And it's that plant has only ever been to the Wessex show because of the time of year it blooms and the fact that it's relatively short-lived. The Wessex Orchid Society meeting is the second Saturday of the month. So the second Saturday of April is perfect for that plant. The Bournemouth meeting would be the last Friday of the month. It's too late. It misses its chance. It's never been to a Bournemouth Orchid Society meeting to try and get some points, because it just comes in between. And it's pretty regular as well. Within a few days each year it comes out roughly the same time. So missed its chance. I'm wondering whether I should have put that in just because of its cluster of blooms. But it's still not a great plant. It's a growing plant, and it's alive, because these are not that easy to look after long term. Most people get one and they grow really well for a year, and then they come out of their first winter and they're not happy. And sometimes they just die, which is what happened to mine, the first one anyway. But this one seems to be hanging in there. I'd like to see some new growths on that soon, but we shall see. So yeah, that'll do for today. And again, sorry about yesterday. It's a regular event. I don't like missing the regular events, but you know, that's life sometimes. And I'll see you next time. I've still got these start of season updates to do. I'll just slot those in every now and again, but I don't want to make them huge. You know, there's still quite a few plants to do to finish those off. So, you know, I may do one of those tomorrow, knock one of those out and get the rest of some plants done. I would suggest you can probably get, the mounts will need two separate videos, I think, because we did one, just those there, and those few. Well, we got those few there, we got that lot there to do, that lot up there, all this lot down through there, both sides, and here, both sides. So that's two videos, and I reckon I can do all of the other pots as a single video. That would be quite a short one, because we did that, and the bit down the middle. That's actually a lot. If you look at what's left, non-holy clay pots, got that little bit there, that little bit, and that. It's not a lot. And then the cooler, shadier ones, we haven't got so many of them now. So that's just one on its own. And the few, what you call it, Miltoniopsis tucked up in there. I had a good look at them yesterday as well. Their roots are coming on now. They're safe. They're going to grow okay. And I would imagine at least one of them's going to bloom soon, with any luck. But yeah, they've recovered quite nicely. I'm quite pleased. They're not the easiest. Right, so see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.